Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one you expect. Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big on the Inside, the New Who Doctor Who Watch Long podcast. I'm Tim Saxby. I've been here every week like a faithful hound, unlike Harry Murdoch, who has decided that this week he had better things to do than come and talk to you lovely guys about Love and Monsters. I think he's rehearsing for a play. I generally don't know what he's doing, but he couldn't make it. So I had to get creative. I asked Ace Creeper. I asked Channel Pub. I asked Hoovian Chaser, but they have blocked me on Instagram and every social media account. So as always, like a weird cousin, you just can't let go. Hello, Harrison. How are you?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to breathe. Hi, hello, I am here. Yes, I am the I'm the Harry replacement.
Yeah,
I'm the poor man Harry.
I was also say that me and Harry normally record these 8 p.m. on a Monday evening. I've been at work this evening, so it's now 11 p.m. at night, and I think we're both slightly deluded. I'm incredibly tired. I don't even have my tea yet. But if you're here for the Love and Monsters watch along segment, that will come in at around the half-hour mark, as always. But before that, me and Harrison, I put a thing out on Instagram, Bigger on the Inside pod, or maybe just Bigger on the pod. It's in the description, about what companions we would love to see return to Doctor Who. We had some, I asked, what do you want us to talk about? I said, do you want to talk us about companions returning, or do you want to talk about something else? Can you remember what the other thing was? What was the other thing?
What was everything? I don't know if it was like about the TARDIS interiors or whatnot.
I can't remember now. But anyway, whatever it was, you guys decided you wanted us to talk about returning companions. So I sent Harrison a thing asking him to list several companions he would like to see return to Doctor Who. And the first one on your list is Lady Christina de Souza. Have I said that right?
Yes.
From Planet of the Dead. Is that it?
Yeah, it's Planet of the Dead with Tennant, yeah.
Yeah, so go for it. So
I mean, I liked her. Yeah, there you go. That's it. No, I'm only kidding.
Sorry, go for it.
No, sorry. I mean, so I'm aware, just because I know it's going to come up in the comments. So, well, actually, she already returned in the audios, which I know. Okay, hold your horses. But it'd be great to have her return on live action, because because a majority of the audience aren't aware of her return in audio, and if anything, it kind of makes her with her obviously opting to drive off. So I would like her to return. I liked her as a character, and I believe she was able to interact awesome. When it comes to Tennant, so it'd be really cool for her to return and perhaps interact with a other incarnation.
Have you listened to any of her Big Finish stuff? Have you listened to that?
I haven't, if I'm honest, but I have heard the reviews for it on all great. But I have it on the list with 800 others I need to listen to, but it's on there.
I wonder if her moment to return has gone. I think that she shouldn't have to return, because I feel like if David had done a 4th season, she would have been a great constant companion. A constant companion to the 10th Doctor.
Yeah. I prefer that, actually. I do prefer that, because, we've only actually opted to have her on, in the era only with Tennant, only with him. And I'm aware we've, had, other companions that have interacted with other incarnations, of the Doctor. But, yeah, I would image that. I mean, only because we've only had her and him on screen together that, we are aware they interact with each other, and they they have a connection, etc. So I would actually agree with you. I would rather have her only with Tennant, actually, in her own era with him, rather than perhaps just returning for an episode or one, a one-off. Yeah.
A 4th series story would have been cool with the two of them, because I like the idea that they could have I feel like if they had been a partnership on the show, it would have been a more intense love dynamic than Ten and Rose. I feel like after losing Rose, the 10th Doctor would quickly have not wanted to let Christina get away. So he maybe would have confessed his love to her very early, and perhaps what I'm imagining for maybe a fourth and a fifth series,
isn't it?
Yeah, is that perhaps the two of them could have even hooked up, and then she would have been killed off, and then that would have been a good way of turning David Tennant into the Time Lord victorious version.
Wow, bloody hell!
So you would have brought it back to what we saw at the end of time, but it would have been
okay.
You know what I mean? It would have been set up differently.
Right, blimey. I hear you. Yeah, I mean, if anything, if I'm trying to think of other areas we can include her in. You know, in the Capaldi era, you know that I forget the name of the episode, but you know the heist war. You know, like
time heist.
Yeah, time heist. That would have been awesome with her because it's like her as a companion is kind of like you know, that's a thing. So
yeah,
maybe.
Okay, the next one, you've got another one on your list, but I'm going to come back to it. So I'm going to skip one and go to
Ace. Hold it till last.
Yeah, is Ace played by Sophie Aldrin, who I would love to see return. I think me and Harry spoke about it. One reason I would love to see Ace return is because obviously Sarah Jane can't return. Elizabeth Sladen has passed away, and they subsequently in the last 12 months they killed the character off as well in that really great audio adventure on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. And at the end of that, it's revealed that K9 goes to live with Ace. So I think if they were to bring Ace back, that would have been a really cool way of acknowledging Sarah no longer being around, and maybe just have some essence of her back in the show, and also to have Ace there as well with K9. That would be great.
Yeah, so I was just on about, like how you kind of managed to hit the hammer on the head there, where like I agree with you, like after she managed to pass on, they haven't almost like held up like her in the show or the continuity. So it'd be really great to like have them return, and like Ace as well as a companion I love. Like I would argue that I actually prefer Ace over like a majority of the companions we actually have in New Who, because I believe that Ace was almost in a way able to create the companions in New Who, where like the companions have an arc, and and that happened right at the end of the classic era. So I would go absolutely like just out of my head if Ace returned. It would just honestly have to be incredible. And like Ace has got an edge to her as well. Yeah. You know, like Ace is like, she's not just kind of like the average like a companion, like, oh no, like I'm in a like, oh no, it's an alien, like I'm in a corridor, I'm trapped. Like, like there was an episode I think in classic era where like Ace was like able to hit like I don't know if she had a hammer or something, but she was like opting to go at it on like, was it?
Oh, she has a baseball bat. Yeah, baseball bat.
Yeah.
She destroys the Dalek in.
I love that scene.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. I think it's about time that the show harkened back to classic Who. It's been a long time since anyone from the previous incarnation of the shows returned. Like Sarah returned. The Doctor phones up the Brigadier to find out he's passed away.
Yes.
The Fourth Doctor sort of returns, but to actually have an episode.
Yeah, kind of.
An episode where something actually happens to do with classic Who would be great.
I would like that a lot. I would argue at the moment in Doctor Who, we are kind of like returning to classic, but it's not classic Who. It's more the classic of the new Who. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. We should do a video on that. That'd be interesting. Okay, next up you have what is, I'm going to say it, my favourite companion in New Who, Wilfred. I loved Bernard Cribbins as Wilfred. He's amazing. He was at a convention not that long ago, over a year ago now. Oh, no, it was actually nearly 3 years ago that I was at. And I was like, should I go and meet him? But I just didn't have time. But Wilf was an amazing character. I loved Wilf so much because he was like, the relationship he had with David's Doctor was very father-son-esque. But not like batting heads father-son-esque. Almost like really impressed dad of a son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly, mate, I hear you on that. Yeah, like he was great, and it's like it is like in terms when it comes to New Who, I would hold him kind of higher than a couple companions that have had like a long time. I would hold him higher than Clara, And obviously, if you compare the time that each of them had, he only had what, like, he was like in the End of Time, and then he was what, in the Runaway Bride.
Yeah.
No,
he wasn't in the Runaway Bride. He was in the Voyage of the Dawn.
That was it. Sorry, yeah. That was it. But yeah, it's just like, it's crazy. Like, he is a character. Like, he is incredible, and I love him, you know. And like, and he's, you know, he, if anything, he's had a huge, like, as part to play in the life of the Doctor, you know, like, in, you know, obviously he was the cause, obviously, you know, like, for Tennant to change. And obviously I don't blame him, because it's him. So I mean, I would have changed to him, you know. Of course, I would have easily have opted to hand up my life for him. But yeah, I completely agree. I love this man. I want him.
Yeah.
I just want him back.
And the next one on your list as well, I definitely want to see back. I think me and Harry talked about this briefly. Is Susan, played by Caroline Ford. Now,
yeah,
I feel, right, this is just the way I'm looking at it.
I hear you out.
I would love Susan to return, but I feel like the perfect time for her to have returned was with Peter Capaldi. That would have been amazing to see the two of those together.
Ooh. No, I hear you. I actually hear you out.
But now that...
Yeah, after you...
I'm just trying to be careful how I word this. Now that the Doctor is played by Jodie, and I feel that bringing Susan back and it not being her grandfather, but it being her grandmother, would be too much of a episode discussion. I feel it would take up too much of the episode and possibly take away from a granddaughter-grandfather love. Not to say that she wouldn't love Jodie as much as she loved the Jodie's incarnation as much as she loved Hartnell's incarnation, because they're family. But I feel if you really want to play with it super well and pull at people's heartstrings and make a really great story with it, the dynamic should be grandfather, granddaughter, not granddaughter, grandmother. But that's not to say it couldn't work. That's just my view on it. And that's not me saying... No,
true.
That's not me saying a woman shouldn't be the Doctor and Jodie Whittaker should leave. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying if they're going to do this particular story, maybe hold off a few years. Or big finish it with Peter Capaldi in 5 years.
Yeah. No, true. I mean, yeah, you know, if I'm honest, I would agree, because it's always kind of been like, you know, in the history and all that, like, she's always opted to call him that, like, you know, like, it's my grandfather, like, hey, grandfather, you know. So, yes, obviously, I mean, I'm aware it would obviously have the chance to work with her, you know, but it would, like, I agree with your point where, like, if this came on, like, on telly, on the screen in an episode, a majority of the community would be in the comments that, oh, well, like, it's a bit odd, this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it would be great for it to happen, because I honestly believe that it was already going to happen, you know, like, who's the timeless child? Like, I instantly believe that, oh my God, it's going to be Susan. Susan's coming back.
That would be cool,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if anything, like, after what's happened, you know, when it comes, like, you know, in the history, you know, at the moment, when it comes to what's, you know, like, hundreds of incarnations that we have now, you know, of the character of the Doctor, I mean, who knows if there's other you know, of who he's related to, his granddaughter, perhaps there's other incarnations out there of Susan. I don't know.
Perhaps. Now, the last one on your list, well, it's not the last one, it's the second one.
Yes.
Because I thought it was interesting to talk about, isn't even from Doctor Who. Clyde and Rani from the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Thank you.
So 2 questions. One, why? Second question, why no Luke? Why no Luke Smith?
Okay, interesting. All right, no, okay, I hear you. Right, so out of everyone we've talked about at the moment on this list, I would absolutely have, like, with Clyde and Rani as my highest. I really want these characters to return. And, yeah, so here's why. Just because if anyone has ever had the chance to watch any episode of Sarah Jane Adventures, like, all these characters are just amazing. Like, I love Clyde Langer. He is, like, one of the most underrated companions in all of canon of Doctor Who. I mean, and he's relatable because, you know, he's like, I mean, he's why I care about him a lot. And when it comes to Rani as well, like, you know, as a kid, when you're growing up and you're having to watch Sarah Jane Adventures and you're going, I want to be Clyde. I want to be Rani. Like, I want to be out with them. And their humor and how they interact with the aliens, etc., and just how they're just like, it's not as if they're only opting to go like on the journey just because like they want to encounter aliens and that. It's just because they have kind hearts and they're just awesome characters. And as well, I want to see your other question there also as well. He wasn't in all the episodes, like only for Luke. Like, I mean, he's great, but I would just argue that because he's I forget what actually happened to him, but I know he's like,
did he go
he's
to
really
university?
smart. He's kind of over. Yeah, he's at uni, but obviously he's very intelligent, perhaps a bit over intelligent. So hence why I'd be a bit hesitant to have him perhaps interact like or with the Doctor, just because they're kind of on an equal. And here's my opinion. I always kind of like opt to have like the companions on as intelligent as the Doctor. Hence why the character is like always in control of the situation. But that's the take I've got on it.
No, I agree. I think that's interesting. It's not what I've seen online, but I do think, like I said, with Ace, is that there should definitely be a return or some sort of reference or just mention that Sarah Jane Adventures universe. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've got any that haven't been said. I really like Wilfred. I like Ace. Okay, I'll throw a few at you. See what you say. I'll just throw a few. What do you think of Amy returning? Also, sit back because you're so loud. There we go.
Sorry. In terms of Amy returning, I don't know. I'm actually a bit half and half in it.
She doesn't know that the Doctor can regenerate.
That is a really good point, to be fair. It'd be interesting, but also I would out of everyone we've talked about, I would rather have any like of the them, if I'm honest. Only just because Amy's kind of like had her ear on the show. All these other companions are kind of.
I feel like she overstayed her welcome as well, slightly, and also with Clara.
Yeah, like I would agree, but I like Amy as a character, and if it happened, obviously I'd be like, oh my god, Amy's back.
It would be cool to maybe bring Amy back into the show, and she spends an episode with the Doctor, but she doesn't know it's the Doctor. Jodie Whittaker never says that. She never, because obviously she doesn't know the Doctor can regenerate. She doesn't know, as far as she's aware, it always looks like Matt Smith. But she must know the Doctor can regenerate. Does she never see like a picture of like Hartnell or Tennant or anything like that?
No way. I don't know if it
the 11th hour. When like that big eye is projecting all different versions of the Doctor.
Oh yeah.
And then Matt Smith walks through at the end. But maybe she doesn't know what that was because it was so early on. I don't know.
Also, I might just add to your point. Would you only have Amy return or Amy and Rory?
I don't really care.
What's wrong with Rory?
I like Rory, but I don't really care if he's there or not. It's not going to make that much of a difference to me. Anyway, guys.
Ain't my channel.
Thanks for listening, guys. We just riffed a little bit about companions. Let us know in the comments what companions you would like to see subscribe. Coming up next, you're going to be able to listen to me and Harry. He's back, thank God. Talk about Love and Monsters. Also, this week, I've completely forgot to say, our interview with William Grantham, aka Channel Pup, the creator of the Absorbable, of the Blue Peter competition winner. Our interview with him goes up later on this week. I should have mentioned that at the top of the show. I must remember it next week. So keep an eye out for that. I believe that comes out. If you listen to this on the date, because if you listen to this on Tuesday, the 23rd, the 24th of February is when you will be able to hear that. I think. Don't hold me to that. Also, check out our Twitter on the 24th, because I might announce something fun that we can all take part in if people are interested. If they're not, it's going to be really embarrassing. So thank you for helping me out on this, hopefully, dear God, one-time opportunity, Harrison. I appreciate it.
You know what? Having this opportunity it changed my life. I'm going to put this.
Oh, I've muted him. That's good. Now none of us can hear him. Oh, that's amazing. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you very much for listening, everybody. And
Oi!
you can unmute yourself. Oh wait,
you snake!
Oh my! Wait. Oh, I'll ask you something off camera because I might have done something in an online lecture today that might not have worked. Now that you've just revealed you can unmute yourself. But thanks very much for listening, guys, and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut it down, pop up!
This is a command from the Daleks. All listeners are demanded to subscribe to our Patreon. Subscribe or you will be exterminated. Seek, locate, subscribe.
What's the point in having you all?
Again. Now I'm recording. Now I can pretend that we didn't just mess that up. Ha! That was some good or bad news there, Harry, depending on what was just said.
It's crazy with Doctor Who news that's coming out right now. Like, you don't know what's going to happen unless it's really predictable, in which case, I mean, I said it was going to happen, didn't I?
You did. I remember you saying just the other week to me, not on the podcast, of course, you said, I bet, there, and then look, it's happened, so...
Yeah, unless it didn't happen, in which case it did not, and it was totally unpredictable.
I know, well, that's what you said. You said it's so predictable that it probably won't even happen. But by that very nature, it therefore was going to happen. Because that would have been the opposite of what the BBC wanted everybody to think. It's a crazy world out there, Doctor Who. Crazy.
Yeah, man. Can't keep track of it.
Another thing that's crazy is what I'm going to say now is the best episode of Doctor Who Series 2, Love and Monsters by... Oh, no, sorry. Harry, we're back. We're doing a watch-along. Series 2, Episode 10. What's it called?
Love and Monsters by Russell T Davies. And yeah. I think you were about to say...
I think it's the best episode of Doctor Who Series 2.
You know what? I've not rewatched Doomsday yet. I'm inclined to agree with you there.
I know this episode gets a lot of... I don't necessarily know if it's hate or if people just trash it and then love it because it's rubbish. But I generally just like it because I feel there is a lot to really like about this episode.
I'm the same. I unironically think that this is a really great episode. And I do agree with you. I think this is the best episode of Series 2. There's a lot to love about it.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's start at the very start. I really like the opening with the whole bucket situation. We're very quickly thrown into a scenario where we don't know what's going on. It sort of reminded me a slight little bit of Rose, where we're very quickly introduced to the Doctor. We have no idea what's going on. But this time, obviously, we can't do that. So it's now through Elton's eyes, played by the amazing Mark Warren, who we're just suddenly embraced into this world of Doctor Who. We don't know what's going on. And which is quite refreshing as a viewer when you're 10 episodes into a second series to suddenly not know what's going on. What did you think about that?
I thought that was great. I think that it kind of was a kind of very good time to kind of take a step back from, you know, the madness and the adventures of Rose and the Doctor and to actually take that outsider's perspective. I especially like the scenes of kind of the different alien invasions that had occurred all from his perspective. Your Thomas Huns attacking, the Slovene, of course, the Christmas invasion, and seeing that all just from some regular guy's point of view was great.
Yeah. That's something I really like about this episode. Is it's not necessarily a non-linear story, but it doesn't follow the same conventional approach of a Doctor Who story. So it is really refreshing. The whole idea of Elton telling you this via basically a vlog, and he's intercut bits of ELO and Elton John. And the way it's cut, like the way the actual episode is cut of him explaining, and that's how I met Jackie Tyler, and that's how I met Victor Kennedy, and that's how I met the Doctor. How that's all cut is very much like how a YouTube video today is cut.
Yeah, and this, I mean, YouTube was a thing when this came out because this was 2006, so YouTube had been around for a year. But I don't know, were video vlogs a thing by that point?
I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. If they were, I don't think it was to that extent. I think it was more, I'm now going to film Jack using his moped to spin this roundabout about in a park sort of thing, or someone doing a big jump or something. I don't think it was, hi guys, welcome back, like, subscribe. It wasn't even like back then in YouTube. It was, you could leave a rating out of 5 stars. But yes, I like the fact he was doing vlogs before Ryan.
Oh yeah. I always forget that. I always forget the Woman Who Fell to Earth opens with Ryan doing that vlog thing.
How old was Ryan? Ryan's meant to be 19. So he was 2020 minus 19. He was born in 2001.
Well, no, it'd be 2017, wouldn't it? Because that's when Series 11 came out.
Oh my goodness, yeah. 2017 minus 19. So yeah, born 1998, so the same year as myself. So yeah, he would have. Ryan would have just been a little kid, whilst Elton was already breaking new ground with the internet.
I mean, that being said, there's also a big question of, because obviously when we get to Series 5 and all the stuff with the crack and how exactly time and continuity works, like, would Ryan have even existed in the timeline that we're currently following?
That is so far ahead that I don't even understand it. And I know we've mentioned it before.
You're the one who brought up Ryan.
And another thing that I really like about this is, even though we get so little of the Doctor and Rose, it's that opening sequence with Ten and Rose. I think that's the most 10th Doctor thing we've seen him do so far.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Yeah, there's a real kind of that iconic now kind of 10th Doctor energy about him.
Yeah.
Kind of just in the action, the heat of the moment, having a real back and forth with Rose. In a way, it very much reminded me of kind of scenes between kind of him and Donna down the line.
Yeah, no, yeah, it does actually, yeah, because it does come across in that instance that he's just two mates mucking around, and it seems like the romantic interest of the Doctor and Rose sort of maybe disappeared. To say that this is the Doctor Light episode of this series. The previous one was Father's Day. This is this year's Doctor Light. For it to be a Doctor Light episode, at no point really watching it do I ever sort of go, "Where's the Doctor?" I'm never asking where he is or what he's up to or why it doesn't feel like an episode where he's that absent, because I'm so engaged in this new story of these new group of friends.
Absolutely. And before we move on to those friends, I just want to ask, of that opening scene with the Doctor and Rose, I was wondering, what are your thoughts? Because this is one of the things I've heard criticized by people who are less keen on this episode. What do you think of the whole Scooby-Doo tribute with the corridor?
I like it. It's a bit of fun. For a viewer, it's just a throwaway fun gag, where I did see it and I thought Scooby-Doo straight away. But then, as a production point of view, I sort of watched it. It's not exactly perfect. There's bits where people's shadows haven't exactly cleared the shot before it's cut and they're running back in. So suddenly there's like a shadow halfway out of a corridor and then it just disappears as Rose comes running back in from the other side. But apart from that, I think it's fun. It's just daft, isn't it? It's Doctor Who. There's something stupid in every Doctor Who episode that you sort of could pick apart, but it works. From Elton's point of view as well.
That's what I was about to say, because people complain about this being a bit like kiddie and silly. But number one, Doctor Who has a large audience, which is children, so that, makes sense. And secondly, it is from Elton's perspective. Like, this isn't even like Elton with a camcorder recording it. This is Elton recording it as he remembers it.
Yeah.
And to him, seeing two people chasing around a monster probably would remind him of Scooby-Doo, hence why it's shown to us in that way.
Yeah. I really like the character of Elton. I think he's really fun. And something I thought of when watching this was, I think it'd be really cool if Elton came back just for one episode.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Why
I'm not
not?
sure about that.
Is it because he's dating a paving slab?
No, I love Elton.
Quick, here comes Elton, and he's running with a paving slab under his arm. He's always out of breath.
It's not that at all. I think Elton's a brilliant character. My reason is that I feel like his interest in the Doctor and the whole world of aliens and monsters has kind of been fulfilled by the end of his story, that he's kind of got the answers and the adventure that he's looking for, so that he wouldn't want to be part of another adventure. He wouldn't want to come back.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying though. Yeah. A big reason I really like this episode is I personally, and I hope a lot of people listening to this also, are big fans of ELO. So the inclusion of so much amazing ELO music throughout this episode, I just love it. I think it's great. The opening sequence of him dancing to Mr. Blue Sky, and then they're all singing Don't Bring Me Down. It's just great.
Yeah, and I think, am I right in saying that this is kind of before kind of ELO and Mr. Blue Sky especially had kind of a big resurgence? Because it was kind of in the mid-2010s, I remember that song suddenly getting way more airtime and being way more popular. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 used it, and then it had a bit of a resurgence internationally. Yeah. But this is before any of that.
Yeah, I've always loved ELO from maybe about the age of 7. ELO and Queen were like, my dad used to play those in the car, so that's where I really sort of discovered ELO. But yeah, I remember vividly being at school, and I had been to see an ELO tribute concert with my dad the night before, and the teacher like asking everybody what they'd been up to. I was like, oh, I did this. And she I remember her looking at me like, that's weird. Not weird to go see an ELO tribute, but for like a 7-year-old to want to go and see an ELO tribute concert. It was great.
I didn't realize that ELO were a type of band that could have tribute concerts. That's only something you associate with like...
They're called the ELO Experience, if anyone's interested. I think I've seen them twice.
Wow. Are they like kind of like the ELO tribute band?
I think they are. I mean, I got to see, I don't know if you remember, but Jeff Lynne's ELO came to the Casey Stadium in Hull about 3 or 4 years ago. I went to go and see them there. That was great.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. It was the day after our sixth form. I don't even think I knew you when I went to see that gig.
No. What year was it?
I think it was the day. It was either the. No, yeah, I will have known you actually. Yeah, it was the day after our sixth form prom.
Yes, you definitely knew because I was on the same table as you.
Yes. No, I couldn't. I couldn't remember if it was our sixth form prom or our year 11 prom. But I know I didn't know. Yeah, that's why. No, I remember. that boring night. Anyway, proms are boring. Let's face it, they're so boring.
I mean,
Would you do it again?
I honestly can't remember anything.
No, I can't.
That happened. Like, I remember the prom photos. That like, outside of that, I can't remember anything that happened. Only the stuff that's documented photographically.
Yeah, I remember there being like a photographer with like a box of props, but I only remember that because I've recently seen those photos. Anyway, Love and Monsters.
Oh yeah, this is a Doctor Who podcast.
We may as well. Do you want to talk about the Linda, or do you want to go into the Absorbal of Peter Kay? What do you want to do first?
Oh no, we have to spend some time talking about Linda.
Okay, I like Linda. I think it's a really good, fun network of people. I also like to think that outside of this Linda, there are other Linda groups around the world who have had interactions with the Doctor and just sort of knuckle down and try and find out what's going on.
Yeah. And I believe that this is intentional. Kind of Linda, I think, is meant to kind of be a metaphor for Doctor Who fandom in general, and of how groups of people, maybe people who were a bit misfits, like some of the members of Linda are, were able to find each other through their kind of shared experiences of, in the show The Doctor, in real life Doctor Who, and then able to form kind of really genuine friendships and friendship groups based around that. I thought that was a really kind of sweet tribute to it.
What a bunch of nerds. Wouldn't catch us doing anything like that, would you?
No, God. Who'd watch a kid's show about aliens?
Nerds. I'd like to see Big Finish do Linda. Pick up the Linda story. Maybe fill in the gaps between when we first saw them.
As in the Linda group which we see?
Yeah. You know, like they meet up weekly. Maybe just do like a month's worth of big like Linda stories, or a year or something like that.
So just almost like very kind of laid back, like one location, almost plays of just like these group meetings and everyone chatting.
And therefore, you could have like members of Linda going, "Oh, I saw the Doctor in such and such," and that would therefore be the location would be somewhere that we would see throughout series 2.
I saw the Doctor, and he was a tyrannical dictator and fighting Daleks. That's right, it's part of Time Lord Victorious.
Everything's tied in. You can't escape it.
It's all Time Lord Victorious, Tim.
I want to go more into Linda, but I feel like to go into Linda, we have to go into Elton's relationship with Jackie.
Oh, yes. That was a great part of the episode.
Yeah. First of all, Elton and Jackie seem like a perfect match.
Romantically or friendship-wise?
Well, see, when I wrote that note, I forgot what was coming. In hindsight, I think they could have got along. They seem to get along very well in the laundrette. They seem to get along very well when Elton takes his top off. He seems very into Jackie when he says, and it's about to get hotter.
No, I didn't.
He seems
that was him entirely putting on an act.
I don't know, but they looked like they would make a good couple.
Interesting. I always kind of read it as just much more of a mates thing.
Yeah. I do like the way, though, that he quickly sort of realizes that he doesn't want to just use Jackie to find out where the Doctor is. That he does actually... That's why I maybe thought that, you know, there is a possible match there, that he does actually start to like her. But there seems to be a conflict between him liking Jackie and also him liking Ursula.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like it would have been better with Jackie. I don't know why.
I don't know. I mean, we have more of a connection to Jackie. We've already expressed our kind of how much we like Jackie as a character. So maybe we just want her to be happy.
Yeah. And I really felt it when she has that breakdown outside and where she basically admits that she's been left behind. I think it's a really nice scene, and it was quite nice to because even Mickey's not there now. Mickey's gone. So it's just Jackie on her own. And I think that's something that Russell's done really well throughout these 2 seasons, is sort of nailing down that people do get left behind and what the actual effects of traveling with the Doctor has, not only on the people inside the TARDIS, but people outside of it as well.
Yeah. One thing that this episode actually brought up, which I found interesting, was that it showed kind of from Jackie's perspective a scene where she has a phone call with Rose.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because whenever we're following Rose and the Doctor, you never see any of that. But and because of that, you kind of assume that Rose has, for the most part, just completely neglected her home life. But the fact that she did, you know, in this episode, phone Jackie kind of makes you wonder, okay, maybe Rose isn't as, you know, forgetful of a daughter as we might have assumed.
Yeah, I also feel like maybe it's just a coincidence that she happened to phone at that exact time, because she does say she phones, but not as often as she would like her to.
Yeah, true. I mean, that being said, within this episode, she definitely phoned Rose twice, or Rose phoned twice, because there's a scene and obviously when we see Rose and the Doctor later, it's obvious Rose has spoken to Jackie in between those 2 times.
Yeah. I wish we did get to see more of their relationship, of Elton and Jackie. I feel like they actually, when he was just coming over all the time to change fuses, I feel like they was probably just quite good mates, and it would have been good to see them sort of just palling around and doing fun stuff.
Big Finish.
Yeah, exactly. I would love that so much. I know when I said it a second
ago. We want
Big
Finish of the most mundane things.
I would, without sounding, I don't want to disregard anything Big Finish done, but if Big Finish were to bring out, let's say, their Out of Time to David Tennant, Peter Davison, or Linda, I would much rather listen to Linda.
I mean, I think that kind of speaks volumes about kind of the world of Doctor Who, and that kind of every showrunner and writer, they just expand it, and it's just such a big wealth of material and characters, some of which you only see for one episode. It's similar to Star Wars in that sense, that you could explore the world infinitely.
Yeah,
really.
100%. We'll go straight into it. Peter Kay as the Absorbaloff. I mean, he's great, right?
Do we want to give some context to the Absorbaloff, to anyone who doesn't know, how they came into being?
So the Absorbaloff was a character that was designed by a child, William Graham or Grantham. I think his name is William, who was on Blue Peter, who did a children's competition to design a new Doctor Who monster, and the winning design would therefore get featured in the second series of Doctor Who. Now, watching Confidential, I also learned that at the same time, Peter Kay was very keen on joining Doctor Who for an episode. And when he heard about this competition and he saw what the winner was, he wanted to play the Absorbaloff. The original design is fairly similar to what is actually on screen. Have you seen that original kid's drawing?
Yeah, I think I have, and it is a pretty faithful adaptation, like the cane and everything.
Yeah, the only thing Russell said was on the day they showed the kid the costume, is the kid suddenly said, "How?" I think he said something like, "How have they made it as big as a double-decker bus?" And the costume guy was like, "You what?" He's like, "Oh, I always imagined it to be like as big as a double-decker bus." And it was like, you didn't write that down. You didn't say that. You've never said that one. So like this kid, but apparently the kid, there's the video, you can see it of him first meeting Peter Kay in the costume. It's great.
Yeah. Now I want a sequel episode where we see another Absorbaloff that absorbs so many people they grow to the size of a double-decker bus.
But it's not Peter Kay, it's Paddy McGuinness.
Yeah, I don't imagine, from what I can gather, Peter Kay probably wouldn't return. So yeah, just bring in other Paddy McGuinness as another Absorbaloff. I would actually be 100% down for. That sounds like the kind of thing that could feasibly happen in Doctor Who, honestly.
It's strange that Peter Kay, yeah, I know what you say. I've heard him before say maybe one of the only regrets he says he has is being in this episode of Doctor Who. But that's strange considering that he's gone for the role and he wrote to Russell and he wanted to play this character, but maybe it's the actual episode and how little time as the Absorbaloff he actually gets on screen.
But that being said, the time we have of him as the Absorbaloff, he's really good. He's really fun.
He's great, isn't he?
You know?
There is just something so fun about that character. And I again, as much as I love ELO, I also love Peter Kay. Our family is a huge fan of Peter Kay. Phoenix Nights, Car Share, everything Peter Kay's done, we all love.
Not to mention his stand-up is some of the best in this country.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, I was so gutted because I had tickets to go and see his cancelled tour. I had tickets to go and see it in Manchester, and then like 4 days later it got cancelled, and we've heard bits from Peter Kay since. He did that lockdown car share, but that was about it.
Crikey.
Yeah. Did you pick up on the Torchwood reference?
Is it that the Absorbaloff, he kind of hacked into Torchwood to get information on the Doctor?
Yeah, he says, "I've been looking at the Torchwood files," or something like that, and yeah, goes through it like that.
Yes, I did pick up on it.
So
yeah.
it's not so much an exact reference to it, but yeah. It's a very funny episode, this, and I think it's funny, but it's not in your face funny. It's not like pun, gag. It's just, this is the most absurd Doctor Who story ever, that it's funny.
Yeah, but they don't treat it quite like that. It's not super big and loud the whole time. Like, my favorite kind of funny bit from this episode is when the 10th Doctor appears and he asks what planet he's absorbed on, and what's the name of Slovene planet? Because you can actually say it.
Raxacoricophalopatorius.
Yeah, and he just says, "No, I'm from Clom."
Yeah, he's like, we're not the Slovene, we spit on them, swine. It's great.
Oh, God.
There's a bit in this that I really liked, and a lot of the bits I really like come from Elton. I think Mark, I'm always forgetting his name, I do apologise. Mark Warren's acting, his comedic acting is great. When him, Mr. Skinner and Ursula all leave, he looks at Ursula and he says, "We're going to go to the Golden Locust and we're going to have a Chinese." It's just the way he delivers the line. And then he's like, "Mr. Skinner, are you coming?" "Just walking out, but not to the Chinese, if you don't mind."
So I found that line actually really kind of just heartwarming.
Yes.
Just kind of that he's done all this adventure. Like, for him, like, the best thing in the world right now would to take this girl out for some Chinese. It's just really sweet for me. Like, this episode makes me smile.
What did you think of the relationship between the two of them, between Ursula and Elton?
I think it's really sweet. We don't see a lot of it, and it's kind of even when it cuts back to kind of Elton thinking of her and the clips, you don't really see more of them kind of smiling at each other and walking together.
Yeah.
That's something which, if they had more time, it would have fleshed out a bit more. But kind of as a couple, it's really sweet.
I would have definitely did this episode if it was a two-parter.
Yeah, honestly, like if there was like in our last kind of episode, I did say that I enjoy what is it called, the Satan Pit and what was
the Impossible
the
Planet.
Forbidden Planet,
the
Impossible Planet. That's it. That being said, if they could have squeezed that into one episode and we made Love and Monsters a two-parter, like let's say part 1 ends with the transformation into the Absorbloff, and then part 2 is all kind of a World War III style, just running from the Absorbloff. I would dig that.
Yeah, I would have really
I would dig that.
It's funny you should say running from the Absorbloff, because there's a scene in it where the Absorbloff is chasing Elton, and they've done, I don't know if it is a Scooby-Doo reference or if it's just a mistake that the editing suite have made, but you see him run around the same corner twice. And it's not like they've tried to hide it, because the background is so distinctive. It's got like graffiti all over it. And I watched it, and I had to watch it back like 4 times. I was like, is that actually just, I'm like, what's going on? And it's just exactly, it's not the same shot. It's a slightly lower angle, but it's exactly the same.
You have a much keener eye than I do for that stuff.
Well, normally I wouldn't notice it, but because I was just enjoying it so much, it suddenly just completely threw me. I really like, going back to that flashback of him thinking about Ursula. Him thinking about his mother. I thought that was great. And the shot of him as a little boy on the field and then his mum walking away to the closing section of Mr. Blue Sky. I thought it was really great.
Then all the stuff with his point of view going into like his living room and seeing the Doctor, like that was really cool. That whole backstory, that whole kind of interest that he had in the Doctor, I found really kind of intriguing, because rewatching this episode, I'd completely forgotten about that whole aspect of Elton as a character, but it really fleshes him out and really kind of adds a bit more dimension to him and kind of explains why he was willing to, even though he kind of changed his mind with Jackie, it explains why he was willing to go that far to get those answers. Yeah.
I should just say, before I forget, because I thought it was a really interesting note, it's completely unrelated to anything you were just saying, is, I was saying Peter Kay originally wanted to be in this episode. Well, he was originally approached by Russell to play a UFO spotter.
Okay, but he wanted to be a monster.
He wanted to be a monster. But I was trying to think of where a UFO spotter would have fitted in this series.
Imagine the closest thing I can think of is Wilf in
but that's
Series
not
4.
That's not for another few seasons away.
Yeah, I guess he would have played a character similar to that and maybe had a scene similar to what Wilf had in the first episode of Series 4.
Yeah.
Though honestly, I'm much happier that we got the character of Wilf to fill that spot.
Yeah. There's hints at the future of the Doctor and Rose when Elton says everybody's time for the Doctor runs out. I can't stop thinking of when that's going to happen to Jackie and Rose. But I don't understand what he's talking about there, because it's the Doctor Who. It's the Doctor Who show with Rose Tyler. That's what it's called, right?
After this series, they do change the title of the show to The Doctor Who Show with Rose Tyler.
Yeah.
And then I believe Billy... Yeah.
It's got like that cool 80s font with Rose Tyler across the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. And then we get a little added like variation on the theme song where after the ooh, because as a kid, I always thought that was a choir or something singing Doctor Who. You then hear afterwards da 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 da, which then my mind tracked as with Rose Tyler.
I can't wait.
Because there are lyrics, just lyrics that you don't hear. They're mind lyrics.
Like Last of the Summer Wine. Last of the summer wine. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's last of the summer wine.
Yeah, exactly. Or Wallace and Crop. Wait, that wasn't track.
Wallace and Gromit.
Gromit. Wallace and Gromit. You just have to say Wallace a lot of times. There's just a lot of Wallaces and one Gromit.
I don't know why that's so funny.
I'm just imagining a Wallace and Gromit short where there's a bunch of Wallaces and one Gromit just having to see all of them. It's like, Tuesday, Gromit, porridge.
No, I'm just
Gromit,
thinking
lad,
of like...
get the...
I'm thinking of a recording studio and there's like a conductor at the front and he's like, and as he raises his hands, just a lot of people start clapping their hands going, Wallace and Gromit.
I was just imagining like an episode, like an actual, like The Wrong Trousers or something, but there's just like 100 Wallaces in that house.
Oh, that's great. Something that isn't so something that sort of threw me a bit with this episode was the ending where Ursula is a paving slab for several reasons. It's the one she doesn't really get a say in it. The Doctor just brings her back to life as a paving slab. And the second one is that it's revealed that they're having a bit of a love life.
Yeah, he kisses her on the cheek on the paving slab. That's
what he's doing, isn't it? That's not what he's doing.
Yeah, and sometimes they do the spaghetti thing from Lady and the Tramp. He just has to kind of hold her. He has to hold a slab up to the spaghetti.
Now, is he holding it above the spaghetti, or is he tilting the spaghetti bowl? What's he doing?
No, what he has to do is like he kind of props the spaghetti up, and then he kind of lifts a fork with a bit of spaghetti to her mouth, and then she sucks it in. But it's one of those cartoon bowls of spaghetti where it's all just one long string of spaghetti, so she can just like, you know.
Do you have anything else to say about Love and Monsters?
Not much. Just I really rate it. I think it's a great episode.
Great episode. So with that in mind, let's do the quiz.
You, not me. I hate being patient. Patience is for wimps.
Oh boy!
That
theme song never gets old. Never gets old.
3 questions for you. The answers to all 3 questions are colours.
Colours?
Yeah, so it should be slightly easy. Question number 1. What colour bucket should Rose have picked up? What colour bucket should she have picked up? Not what did she pick up. What colour should she have picked up?
Yellow?
I don't know. I thought it was red.
But you're the one with the answers.
I'm going to say red because we only see a red and blue bucket.
And which are you holding?
She uses the blue one and then he says not blue and then we see a red one.
Oh.
So, sorry.
Did you not write down the answers?
I wrote red, but when you said yellow, I thought you were right. Anyway, what colour is Jackie Tyler's toothbrush when we see Elton getting changed?
Is it green?
It is! It is green!
Hey!
Okay, and final question. What colour is Elton's shirt when he goes around for Jackies for wine?
Blue.
Oh, it's purple.
Yeah, it is purple.
So you got 1 out of 3. Well done there, Harold.
That's pretty average for me.
Yeah, I think it is actually, yeah. It's an improvement compared to sometimes. Do you have anything else to recommend?
Before I go, I just want to tell you were fantastic.
Oh, yes, recommendation. Here's the thing. I do have a recommendation. Like, I remember seeing something and thinking, yes, I want to recommend that. And I've just remembered what it is. That was not me stalling. I believe that it was something that my family recorded the night before Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago now. It was because the BBC, what they usually like to do is they like to tell some kind of ghost story or something the night before Christmas. And this was a film actually made by, what's it called? It's like called like a Yorkshire film company. It might even just be called like Film Yorkshire or something.
I think, yeah.
The film,
like that, yeah.
You'll know who I'm talking about. But the film is called Ghost Stories. It's filmed in Yorkshire. It has a great cast, very British cast of kind of the main two, Paul Whitehouse and Martin Freeman. Neither of them are the main character. The main character is this guy who hosts kind of not a supernatural ghost show, but like a debunking show where he goes around debunking kind of ghost theories and kind of psychics. But then his kind of childhood idol, who did a very similar thing, tells him, look, I've got these 3 stories from my career of people who claim they saw ghosts, and I never was able to prove that they were fake. So if you can't prove them fake before I die, then I'll have no choice but to die thinking that ghosts are real. And so it's him going to these 3 people, one of which is played by Paul Whitehouse, one of which is played by Martin Freeman, and hearing their stories. And it's just a really cool kind of ghost anthology film. It's got some great imagery. It's got some pretty scary imagery, and it's pretty intense at parts. But it's also quite funny at parts, and it's just a brilliant tone. And then the third act, I won't say what happens, but it's something to see. It
does look good. I'm
just a really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking.
It's
on BBC iPlayer if people want to check that out.
I mean, will it still be on iPlayer by the time this comes out, though?
Possibly. I don't know. BBC iPlayer is a bit weird at the moment. They're sort of keeping stuff on there for ages, and some stuff like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's on there. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that? Have BBC ever shown Fresh Prince?
Nah, I don't think so. It's Channel 4, I think.
Really? That's weird.
What I forgot to do was, before we went into recommendations, I forgot to read out what everyone's opinions on the episode was. I won't go through every single one, but a lot of people seem to enjoy it. You said Harry Murdoch says he loved the monster. Dalek Who _life says, not one of my favorites, but I find I enjoy it every time I watch it. That Dan Purdy also liked it, and Paul over on Twitter also says he really enjoys it as well. So yeah, a lot of people seem to enjoy it. But my recommendation is something that I sort of discovered you can sort of find. You can get 1 episode legally for free on YouTube, and then maybe if you happen to be looking around, you might also come across a few. But it's also all available on BBC iPlayer. The BBC sitcom Not Going Out, which is written by Lee Mack. I've always really liked it. It's just a really good, fun, light-hearted sitcom. It's not too silly, but it is very funny. It's just a standard, perfect sitcom. It's set, the first 6 seasons set in a flat. You've got 10 seasons to get through. It's great.
I've not watched the whole thing. I've kind of watched the era. I think early on, not the first series, I think the second series, when because I know the first series, kind of the female lead is an American actress, isn't it?
That's true, yeah.
And then they switched her out for the second series. I've kind of watched a lot from that area where Tim Vine is also a recurring character because he plays her brother.
Yeah.
And that, to me, my understanding is that's kind of like the golden era of the show.
Mm.
And it is just a consistently just very funny sitcom. And really, you don't get a lot of kind of, especially in the UK, you don't get a ton of live studio audience sitcoms that I can think of. Like there's kind of this and Upstart Crow and Mrs. Brown's Boys. Is there anything else?
I feel like Not Going Out, when that came out, it was still the same time as stuff like My Family and that. But since then, all that sort of stuff has sort of disappeared. But Not Going Out, it's been going for 10 seasons now. It's not 10 years. It's been longer than 10 years because there's been years where it hasn't been on. But for 10 seasons, that's been going. So it's always sort of kept its roots with a studio audience. But I feel the reason we don't get a lot of that now is thanks to Mrs. Brown's Boys.
What do you mean?
I feel like Mrs. Brown's Boys is sort of ruined that live studio audience feel of it a little bit. And now whenever a new sitcom does come out with a live studio audience, I'm constantly just thinking of Mrs. Brown's Boys. And I don't want to because I really don't like Mrs. Brown's Boys.
I mean,
if you're about to tell me you like Mrs. Brown Boys, if you're about to tell me you like it...
Look, I just said it's not to my taste, but it's a show which obviously has a lot of fans, makes a lot of people very happy. But why is it on TV?
No one knows. No one knows why it's on telly. It got about 3 million viewers this Christmas special of Christmas 2020. Only got 3 million viewers. That's pants.
I mean, I don't know what usual British TV ratings are. I'm guessing,
It's
Bake
had
Off
more.
does better.
It's had more Christmas specials than it has if you add every episode up across its actual seasons.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, so it ran for 3 seasons, and then there hasn't been a series in about 6 years. But every year they just do a Christmas special, and they've just renewed it for brand new Christmas specials all the way until 2027.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's what amazes me about it. Yeah.
There's more Mrs. Brown's Boys Christmas specials than there are normal episodes of Mrs. Brown's Boys.
100% true. Let me try and find it now.
The first time I saw Mrs. Brown's Boys was in 2012, and it was I was on holiday in Spain, and like the Olympics had just happened. So for 2 weeks, the only TV anywhere was the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then one of the first shows I saw on TV after the Olympics stopped was an episode of Mrs. Brown's Boys. I don't know if it's because like I was so far from British culture, or because like there just not been anything else on TV but sports. But when I saw that episode of Mrs. Brown's Boys, it was like, to me and my whole family, it was like the funniest thing ever.
Yeah,
like we thought it was hilarious.
When I first saw it, I thought it was great, but because of this constant churn out of it, so I've got it here. Series 1 had 6 episodes, 21st of February 2011 to March 2011, with an average viewership of 3 million viewers per episode. Series 2, including a Christmas special, had 7 episodes, with around 7 million views per episode. Series 3...
Is that 13 or 12 normal episodes?
Sorry, so you've got 6 plus 6 plus 1, which is 166, 12, 13 episodes so far.
Okay.
And then you've got... Is that...
Wait, are you counting the Christmas special there?
There's a Christmas special there. I feel like I could be
well, we're not. Let's not count the Christmas
Oh,
special.
sorry, no, you're not counting the Christmas specials. That's true, yeah. So you got 6
12.
episodes in Series 1, 6 episodes in Series 2, Series 3, 6 episodes.
Okay, so 18 normal episodes.
Yeah, okay. And then 26th of December 2011, you had a Christmas special. The 24th of December 2012, there was a Christmas special. There was then another Christmas special, the 26th of December 2012. There was then a Christmas special, the 25th of December 2013, and then another one on the 30th of December 2013, the 25th of January 2014, the 1st of January 2015, the 25th of December 2015, the 1st of January 2016. Then there was a random special, the 23rd of July 2016. Are you still counting?
Yeah.
What were you up to?
What, 10?
10? Okay, get ready. There's then another one, the 25th of December 2016, the 1st of January 2017, the 25th of December 2017, the 1st of January 2018, the 25th of December 2018, the 1st of January 2019, the 25th of December 2019, the 1st of January 2020, 25th of December 2020, and the 1st of January 2021.
That's 20 specials.
Do you understand
You're
my
right,
hatred?
There's 8. I mean, I don't think just the quantity of specials alone is a justifiable grounds there. I mean, I understand that it's not yours. Then, I respect your opinion. And I'm not saying I like the show. I'm just saying there must be a reason they keep bringing it back. There must be people who do really like it. There have to be.
I think it gets brought back because it's cheap and it's easy to make.
Also, I think at this point, it must be comforting for a lot of people, no matter what happens in the year, Mrs. Brown is going to be there at Christmas.
That's great. Till 2027.
I really like Brendan O'Carroll as well. I think he's very funny.
Ugh.
Outside of the show, in interviews, like outside the show, I think Brendan O'Carroll's very funny.
Okay, what's better, Mrs. Brown's Boys or Afterlife?
What was Afterlife again?
Ricky Gervais's.
Was that... Well, obviously Afterlife.
Okay,
Afterlife is
so
great.
then why at the National Television Awards did fucking Mrs. Brown's Boys win over Afterlife?
This is you're falling into my point. The National Television Awards are voted for by the general public. So the general public are the ones who voted for Mrs. Brown over Afterlife. So there are members of the general public who like Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Anybody listening to this who has listened this far through this random Mrs. Brown's Boys rant, whatever happens at this year's NTAs, even if there is a 2021 this year's NTAs, actually, it already been by the time this has come out, but prepare for next year because I want you all to vote for whatever else was on telly when it comes to the comedy category. Please.
It has to be a targeted vote, otherwise everyone will vote for different things and Mrs. Brown's Boys will win because all the other votes are spread thin.
Okay, so what do we know is going to be on? So Afterlife series...
Imagine, do you think staged? I reckon staged will be nominated.
Staged, Afterlife, what else? Not Going Out, possibly. Motherhood?
Not Going Out have the head. Or is it Motherland?
Motherland, that's it. King Gary, that's good.
King Gary's great, actually. Let's all vote for King Gary.
King Gary, go vote for King Gary. It's got Jackie in it from Doctor Who as well. It's fantastic.
King Gary's fantastic.
Yeah. Everyone go vote for King Gary for 2022. Oh, God. Anyway, thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll be back next week with Thea Hair. So, yeah, come join us for that. I'm out of breath. I've been very angry this episode.
Yeah, but I've just been taking it in.
Thanks very much for listening, everybody. I'll say goodbye. Do you want to say goodbye, Harry?
I just want to say, do you think if we were that, passionately angry about Doctor Who, we'd have, more viewers?
I don't think so. I feel like people who dislike Doctor Who get hated on very quickly.
Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of people online. I don't know any names, but there seems to be a lot of, either channels and kind of influencers who seem to have made a name for themselves primarily out of disliking the show. It's hard to find a Doctor Who fan who likes Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can say that for any fan base.
That's true.
Every Star Wars fan hates Star Wars.
It's true. No Star Wars fan likes all the Star Wars films.
Oh, I don't know. Do I like Attack of the Clones?
Oh, sorry, maybe not all
dislike
Star Wars films, but everything Star Wars. No Star Wars fan is out there I love everything Star Wars. It's either I like this and I absolutely hate this, and if you like it, you're dead to me.
Yeah, I feel like to be a Star Wars fan, you like maybe 10% of Star Wars, and the rest of it you just either don't care about or do not like.
Yeah, you like the original trilogy. You like the ending.
Well,
of episode 3.
Return of a Jedi is
Anyway,
Return of a Jedi is kind of prequel-y.
We're rambling. We'll see you again next week. Say bye, Harry.
Bye-bye.
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.